Okay, we're back. Back to 1989, when this album came out. This is by Charlie Sexton. It's an absolutely incredible album, and I say that with no bias, despite being a massive super fan. Now, a couple of years earlier than that one, this had come out, which is called Pictures for Pleasure, and this was really Charlie's first solo album. It was called Pictures for Pleasure, so 2 years later it maybe made sense to call the second album Charlie Sexton. This one was produced by Keith Forte. I'm planning to do a whole bunch of videos on Charlie's albums. And this one features Beat So Lonely with what I tend to always refer to as the impossible solo that Charlie plays in Beat So Lonely. It's absolutely incredible. And a lot of other great stuff too. Now, that one, the first album was produced by Keith Forte. This one is produced by Bob Clearmountain and Tony Berg. And again, it's a massive high-tech sound. If you know much about Charlie Sexton, brief potted career, exploded when he was 17 with that album, and The NME, which was a music paper in Britain, described him as looking like James Dean, singing like Elvis, and playing guitar like a hurricane, which is quite an endorsement, which made me rush out and buy that album, and it's great. Nowadays you can find Charlie having played for the last, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 years with Bob Dylan. He's currently playing with Elvis Costello, and recently they reformed, him and Doyle Bramhall and Chris Layton reformed the Archangels. The Archangels, I'm sure you know, made one of the greatest debut albums of all time. So for me, Charlie Sexton has been involved in a lot of incredible stuff. So this album, as I say, which is just called Charlie Sexton. His writing partner tended to be a guy, I think his name was Steve Krikorian, but he used the nom de plume Tony O'Kay, and I think Tony O'Kay wrote Impressed with Charlie on the first album. Now, this is track one, side one of the second album, and it's a co-write between Charlie Sexton and Tony O'Kay. It's in the key of B, and the first thing you may notice is I've got what could technically be described as a bucket of echo stroke delay. Now I'll do a separate video with the chords and all the parts, but most of the guitar parts in this, they really do require this delay sound. The first thing you hear is the band come in with a huge, the B, the keyboard bass drum. Right, I'm just giving you a tonal centre there, and one guitar plays this. You see what's happening there? We've got it set as near as we can to an eighth note. So when I go ba ba da ba da, it's going ba ba. See what I mean? So we get this opening lick that actually goes, if I turn it off on it. But with the echo it comes out is. Right. We fine-tune the delay if you want. I think on a modern delay you could probably do it with a tap. I'm playing through a Boss Katana, and what I've done is just turned the delay setting up on the orange, illuminated orange light, so it's one of 3 delay settings, and I've turned it up pretty high. So we've got that. There's then a very atmospheric, because we're in B, so we get this D and a C sharp, like. And this is the kind of code of the road in this song. There's lots of atmospherics in it. So we get this, you either fret the D, then play C sharp, or and lay it down, or you could violin in. That's probably what I would do in a live setting. I've never come across a live version of this song, by the way. That if I could convince
either of the two bands I play with to do this song. That would be my approach. We've now got two guitars. Got that, and we've got this. And the third guitar plays this. And those notes are D, minor third over B, an E, a fourth, an F sharp, a fifth, tonic, B, flat seventh, A. And at this point, if you want to count it, you can count it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the band coming like that. As I say, I'll do it, the next video will just be the chords and stuff without the echo, but we will need the echo for the lead parts. So what we've basically got going is a B chord, then we get that line again, which is A, B, D, E, and an A chord, and back to the B. And that's what Charlie sings, and it's a mix-up picture. Now, we've then got a G chord, 3 F sharp, 3 F sharp to E minor, and this leads us into the chorus, which is the Don't Look Back bit. Now this has got 4 chords. As I say, I'll just very briefly go through the chords. The first one's a D. This is where Charlie sings Don't Look Back. And it's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And down to it's got. The third chord is like a 2-note D and an A. But it's got a B bass. And this note, which is another D. So you've got that chord, but I think the bass plays the B. So the bass is playing Don't Look Back, B. You know what's coming, G, right? But the guitar's playing. And then that, but with the B bass. Right? And that's it. And there's another. The middle section is an E minor, F sharp minor, G. Go through F sharp, up to the B. Right? Now for that F sharp minor, and you may or may not want to do this, it's not on the record, but if it were me, I would play E minor. For the F sharp minor, I'd play like that with the 2 open strings. But E minor, F sharp minor, down to E minor, and then right? Now again, you can feel this, but if you wanted to count it, I think this would go 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's very atmospheric. 6, 7, 8. There's a drum fill, and we get into the first. And we're into Charlie's solo, right? But in that section, which, you know, if we want to call it a middle 8, we can call it that. There's a really atmospheric bit. The closest I can get to it is to play a B chord, right? By fretting a fret below and letting it down. So it sounds like going. Right, so you would fret the F and the B flat. Right, so we've got that. and let it down. Now, obviously you could do that with a tremolo bar as well. And a brief note about the guitar solo. It sounds like Charlie's shaking every note. So if you're playing it on a guitar with a bar or a Floyd or something, you could do that. You could just hook your little finger around it and just wobble it slightly, though not too much, you know. But you can play it just by, you know, just with a finger vibrato. Right. So after this, as I say, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's percussion going on and this atmospheric, you know, this very echoey atmospheric guitar getting to Charlie's solo. So Charlie plays this. Yep, that's what it plays. It's a really unusual choice of notes and it sounds absolutely fantastic. So I'll go through that really slowly. Now the first bit, if you like, is quite conventional. And we're in B, either a B5 or a B minor. So the first thing you hear Charlie playing is that choice of notes. And as I say, they've all got a bit of a shape. Now, when I hear that on the record, it just, in my mind's eye, I can see like a pagoda. That's the visual that goes with that. I know a lot of us have a visual. I think that's sometimes called synesthesia, if I'm correct. We sometimes have a visual that, you know, we might hear music that makes us think of rippling water or whatever. I see this as like a pagoda, right? So, it's a very, very distinctive, I mean Charlie Sexton can play absolute kick-ass, conventional guitar when he chooses. If you watch the Archangels live video, you'll see some amazing guitar from him and Doyle. But he can also play, as in Beach So Lonely, you know, some very distinctive, original guitar playing that doesn't really sound like anyone else. So the first thing here is this. Right? That almost sounds to me like Eric Johnson doing the Koto effect if you played it down here. You know, if you play it like that, right? And Charlie's really good, by the way, at doing that sort of stuff. Well, if we just concentrate on the notes for now. First line. Now that is B, A, and F sharp. So it's pretty standard notes in the key of B. You know, it's like. When I first heard it, that's where I thought he played it. I thought, it sounds like he's played in that position. I think it's actually here. And you hear that's the same phrase, the rhythm is exactly the same, but the notes change. So we've got B, as I say, B, A, F sharp. Then we've got to the D, A, B. So that's your first phrase. Next phrase is this one. That's lovely. That's E to D. All the way down to A. All the way up to a sharp. So far we've got. Right. Now at this point we kind of move into conventional wailing guitar. And it's like this. Right, so that's about half of the solo. Now the next bit is really conventional wailing guitar, but it sounds sensational. So far we've got this. Right, so after we get this E and F sharp. Up to A, F sharp, down to E, same again. And then a very high B. Right, now we're into some wailing. And Charlie plays this. Right? And that's played off a 5-note scale, so if it is, you know. It'd be like that, right? But it's played up here, so we've got. So it's played like that with those notes. So we've got the A pushed up to B, and then just let down a fraction, which I guess is coming from the sort of blues background. Again, this thing that I love to say, indiscriminate pitch. And if you said to me, how much do you let the note down, I would say till it sounds good. You know, and when it sounds good, it's good, right? So let us bend. Right, and then this. Right, you know that phase there. Fret A. Again, we'll go down there. 5-note scale and up to the A. So now we've got that's about 3/4 of Charlie's solo, and then it gets to the bit where I must admit, over numerous, countless listenings to this record, I would say it aloud, what is he playing there? What is that? Right, so at this point Charlie plays. If we want to talk about the notes, like where they sit in the scale, we've got a D, you know, which is minor third. So okay, and an A, so we've got. Right, so we've got this high A, that's okay, that's flat 7th. And a D and the C sharp. Then this 3-note descending line goes. Which goes A, G, F sharp. So we've got right, and then right. It sounds when I first heard it, I kind of thought it was going to be one of these. Or like, you know, Jeff Baxter used to play these, that kind of chromatic line. I just heard it in those terms, but it's actually, the notes do sit in the scale pattern really nicely, and it sounds fantastic. So if you imagine that as one phase, I had to cut this up into bite-sized chunks. There's your first one, A, D, C sharp, A. And then this, that really catches your ear. And then the real chromatic one. And this time we're at the F sharp. Here's the F, E, and the B, the tonic. So. And we're at the last climatic lick of the solo. At this point, Charlie goes. So that final phase is. So I had to pause for breath in the middle of it. There you go, that's better. Now the funny thing is, when you hit the G, this last line, the last sort of grouping of 4 is D, another C sharp, an A, and a G. And it leads straight into it. The funny thing happens here, because there is a jump of quite athletic proportions. It may be an overdub, I don't know. So what happens is, about a millisecond, quarter of a beat after the G is up. That's the last note of the solo. Well, it's not actually, there's a phrase after it, but that's the last note of that section. So if you imagine it like this, I have to play it a little bit slowly. Here it comes. And we play that really high note. That's B, by the way, pushed up. So it's a B pushed up to C sharp. So. And again, there's that sort of conventional. But played up there. Right? Now, I don't know about you, but I find that a very unusual choice of notes. So I'll play the whole thing through really slowly. If you feel like learning this solo, or as I always say, if you feel like saying, actually that note's not an F sharp, I think it's this, I think this is what's played, that'd be great, because as I keep on saying, that's how we all learn. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Think of the atmospheric bit. That bit, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here it comes. There's a high note. And that's it. That is Charlie Sexton's solo. I absolutely love that one, by the way. Absolutely. Just a choice of notes. It's so distinctive, it's very different. And it's a really catchy song. Again, it would be a great song for a band to play, because it's almost got, well, it has got, the sort of generic D to A. Although, as I say, the third chord seems to be a 2-note. It should be a D, but if you put a B on the bottom of it and then fret that as a D, you get. We then get what is effectively a B minor 7th. We wouldn't worry too much about that. Just if the bass player plays, you can play that chord. So there we go. 1989, Charlie Sexton. Lots of other great songs on this album, which I'm going to get to a few of them, including, if any of you have seen The Lost Boys, and I know it's a cult movie on the grand scale, you will know the song Cry Little Sister. It's on here. So bear with me, and we'll have lots more Charlie coming up.